Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Iqra al mithala thumma hawwil and then we have hawwil, and when we connect it with kasra, hawwil al jumal al atiyata mithlahu. Now read the example, then make the sentences on the same pattern. مثال, the example, الطالب ذهب إلى المطعم. The student went to the restaurant. And then we have الطلاب ذهبوا إلى المطعم, and the students went to the restaurant. So what do we have to basically notice over here? We know that it's a nominal sentence. It's jumlatun ismiyatun because it starts with the noun. So at-talibu is the subject. So where is the predicate then? Dhahaba ila al-mat'ami. So we know that subject and predicate are equal in number and gender. So at-talibu is one. And what about dhahaba? It's a verb. So can a verbal sentence or can a verb be a predicate? Can it be a khabar? And the answer is yes. The predicate can be a verbal sentence or it can be a verb itself. So when we say dhahaba, the translation will be he went. Dhahaba, he went. And please remember, we have mentioned earlier that every verb in Arabic language has an inbuilt doer or has an inbuilt pronoun inside it. So when we say dhahaba, basically we have inbuilt pronoun inside it, which is huwa. Huwa dhahaba. So the grammarians, they say that at-talibu is the subject and huwa is the predicate. What is the predicate? Huwa is the predicate. So now we can see that the subject and the predicate are equal in number and gender. At-talibu is masculine and huwa is masculine, and similarly at-talibu is singular and huwa is also singular. At-talibu dhahaba ila al-mat'ami. And when we have here at-tullabu, now the subject is plural, right? So when the subject is plural, then the predicate has to be plural as well, right? So dhahabu means they went, meaning hum dhahabu, they went. So here the inbuilt pronoun that we have inside it is hum. So at-tullabu will be the subject and hum will be the predicate. So two things that we have to notice over here. Number one, subject and predicate must be equal in number and gender. And number two, we have to make sure that if the subject is plural, then the predicate, if it's a verb, it has to be plural. For example, dhahabu is used for the plural and dhahaba is used for the singular. So that's the thing that we have to notice over here. And we know that in this lesson, we are learning about the plural only. So that's why we have to focus on the plural only. And the plural is dhahabu, they went. At-tullabu dhahabu ila al-mat'ami. The students went to the restaurant. Okay, so it's very simple. We have at-talibu is subject and dhahaba is predicate. How dhahaba is predicate? Dhahaba is predicate because it has an inbuilt pronoun inside it, and that inbuilt pronoun is huwa. When we say dhahaba, the translation will be he went. In English, the translation will be he went. Okay. Now in English, we can see that we have he, the pronoun he is there. We can see it. But in Arabic, we can't see it. And that's why we say that the pronoun inside it is hidden, and that is huwa. So that's why we will say that at-talibu is the subject and dhahaba is the predicate. Yeah, of course, the predicate can be a verb as well. For example, dhahaba is a verb basically, so that's the predicate. And we know that the subject and the predicate must be equal in number and gender. So at-talibu dhahaba and at-tullabu dhahabu. The easiest way to remember is that if the subject is singular, then the verb will be singular. And if the subject is plural, then the verb will be plural, as we can see over here. For example, at-talibu jalasa, at-talibu subject and jalasa is the predicate. Fil fasli, the student sat in the classroom. Now we want to say at-tullabu and we have to use the plural verb. So what will be the plural verb for jalasa? Does anyone remember? Excellent. Jalasu, at-tullabu jalasu fil fasli. The students sat in the classroom. Al-mudarrisu kharaja min al-madrasati. The teacher went out of the school. And now we want to say the teachers went out of the school. So we will say al-mudarrisuna kharaju min al-madrasati. Yes, al-mudarrisuna kharaju min al-madrasati. The teachers went out of the school. So we have to make sure that when we have al-mudarrisu, we use the verb which is singular kharaja. And when we have al-mudarrisu, it will be kharaju. So if the subject is plural, then the verb has to be plural as well. They must be equal, as we can see over here. At-tajiru dhahaba ila suqi. The merchant went to the market, and we want to say the merchants went to the market. So we will say at-tujjaru dhahabu ila suqi. At-tujjaru dhahabu ila suqi. The merchants went to the market. And we have noticed over here that when we say dhahabu, after waw there is an additional alif. So always whenever we say dhahabu jalasu kharaju, whenever there is a plural, there will be an additional alif, as we can see over here. And this is for the third person masculine. For the third person masculine, there will always be an extra alif in the end as well. So we can see jalasu, kharaju, and dhahabu. They all have an extra alif. Iqra, waktub, read and write. So it's a very simple exercise. We have to only read and write. The reading part, I will help you, and the writing part, inshallah, you will do it by yourselves. At-tullabu fil fasli. The students are in the classroom. So it's a very simple nominal sentence. At-tullabu is the subject and fil fasli is predicate. Man ha'ula'i al-uladu. So here now we say that ha'ula'i al-uladu. We will say that this is a subject and man is the predicate. Or vice versa. Man can be subject as well. So we have man ha'ula'i al-uladu. Who are these boys? Ahum abna'uka. Are they your sons? La hum abna'u akhi. No, they are the sons of my brother. And we can see that abna'u akhi is mubtada'in. Sorry, it is what do we say? Mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Abna'u akhi, the brothers of the sons of my brother. Man ha'ula innasu. Who are these people? And hum hujjajun min Turkiya. Hum hujjajun, they are pilgrims min Turkiya, from Turkey. Aina tujjaru, where are the merchants? Dhahabu ila suqi, they went to the market. Okay, now dhahabu ila suqi. What kind of sentence is this? Verbal sentence or nominal sentence? Dhahabu, they went. So it's a verbal sentence, because it starts with a verb. Excellent. They went to the market. Now, when we say dhahabu, in English, we are saying they went. In English, we are saying they went. So where do we get they from? They went. So they is inbuilt. It is inbuilt. And as we have discussed, that every verb has an inbuilt, excellent, an inbuilt noun or pronoun, in fact, pronoun inside it. Man ha'ula'i rijalu, who are these men? Hum duyufun, they are guests. Al-fallahuna fil huquli, the farmers are in the fields. Wa abna'uhum fil madrasati, and their sons are in the school. Aina tullabu al-jududu, where are the new students? Let's not forget that we have to focus on the broken plural as well. And we have to make sure that when we talk about the broken plural, we have to focus on the patterns. So what is the pattern of at-tullabu? At-tullabu is on the pattern of fu'alu. And jududu is on the pattern of fu'ulu. So please don't forget the patterns, as we are focusing on the patterns and we are focusing on the broken plural, al-jam'u, al-mukassaru, and we have to make sure that we remember the patterns as well. Ba'duhum fil fasli, some of them are in the classroom. وَبَعْضُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْمُدِيرِ, and some of them are with the headmaster. And we have also learned that ba'd is also used as special mudaf. So ba'du is mudaf and hum is mudaf ilayh. And this is subject, and عِنْدَ الْمُدِيرِ is predicate. Similarly, ba'duhum is subject and fil fasli is predicate. أَعْمَامِ تُجَّارٌ كِبَارٌ. أَعْمَامِ is the plural of what? Ammun, and the plural is i'mamun, right? Ammun, i'mamun, paternal uncle. And then we have ya al-mutakallim, so it becomes a'mami, my uncles. Tujjarun kibarun are big merchants. Aina abnauka ya Aliyu, where are your sons, O Ali? Hum fid dukkani, they are in the shop. So now we can see over here that hum is the subject and fit dukkani is the predicate. Similarly, aina abnauka ya Ali, abnauka, abnau will be the subject and aina will be predicate. At-tullabul kibaru fil mal'abi. Now we can see at-tullabu on the pattern of fu'alun and kibaru is on the pattern of fi'alun. At-tullabul kibaru fil mal'abi. The big students are in the playground. وَالطُّلَّابُ الصِّغَارُ فِي الْفَصْلِ, and the younger students are in the classroom. So now we know that at-tullabu was-sigaru is subject, and subject is always marfu, and similarly fil fasli is predicate. Fil fasli is also marfu, but we can't see the endings because of harf jar fi. So we will say at-tullabu was-sigaru is subject and it is marfu, and similarly we will say fil fasli is the predicate, and this is also marfu. But is it marfu? Can we see the ending? The ending is kasra. So we will say that it is in the place of marfu, because we know that subject and predicate, both of them are marfu. So fil fasli is in the place of marfu, but originally this is jar majroor. This is shibhul jumla, as we say, or we say this is a prepositional phrase. Ha'ula il-fityatu ikhwatun. Now we can see over here, ha'ula il-fityatu. Fityatu is on the pattern of fi'latun. And these young men or these young boys, ikhwatun, are brothers. These young boys are brothers. Abuhum imamu hadal masjidi. Abuhum, their father. Imamu, as we can see over here, or it should be, imamu hadal masjidi. Their father is the leader or imam of this masjid. Now, do you see the difference between imam and amam? We have learned that amam is a dharf, that means in front of, it comes with fatha, and here imam is the leader, the person who leads, like in the prayer. So that's why we call him imamun. It is with kasraya. So the small change in the vowels can make a big change in the meaning. So that's why we need to be very, very careful. Imamu hadal masjidi, he is the imam of this masjid. Ha'ula'i rijalu fallahuna min qaryati. Ha'ula'i rijalu, these men are fallahuna, farmers, min qaryati, from my village. Aina tullabu al-jududu, where are the new students? Akharaju, did they go out? Hamzatul istifham. Kharaju, did they go out? Naam, yes. Kharaju wa dhahabu ila al-maktabati. Yes, they went out, and or they left. Kharaju, they left. Wa dhahabu, and they went. Ila al-maktabati, to the library. So because we are talking about the new students, at-tullabu al-judadu, so that's why we have to say kharaju, because it refers to tullab, and similarly dhahabu is also, it refers to the students, so that's why we have to use the plural verb. Ha'ula'i al-atibba'u muslimuna. Are these doctors Muslims? Atibba'u is the plural of tabibun. Are these doctors Muslims? Na'am, yes. Hum muslimuna, they are Muslims. Hum is the subject and muslimuna is predicate. Li abna'un sigharun, I have young children, or I have young sons, as we can see over here. So abna'un sigharun is the subject and li is the predicate. And generally when we have li as predicate, and when it comes in the beginning of the sentence, then generally after that the subject will be an indefinite noun. So it is generally an indefinite noun. So whenever we have li or indi in the beginning of the sentence, then after that the subject will be, generally it will be an indefinite noun, or it will be nakira. بعضهم في المدرسة الابتدائية, some of them are in the primary school. وبعضهم في المدرسة المتوسطة, and some of them are in the middle school. So again, بعضهم will be the subject, and في المدرسة الابتدائية will be the predicate, and wa means and بعضهم will be subject. في المدرسة المتوسطة, they are in the middle school. So alhamdulillah, this exercise, it's a very good practice of the broken plural, inshallah. And then, of course, the more we practice, the more our Arabic will improve. Uktub, that means to write. And now we don't know as of now that we should put dhamma or kasra, but inshallah, when we learn the verbs, we will come to know that we have to put dhamma. Uktub jam'al kalimatil atiyati. Jam'a is the mudaf, that's why it is light, it does not have tanween, and al kalimati al atiyati is mudaf ilayh, and similarly this is mawsuf and this is sifa. Uktub jam' al kalimat al atiyati. Now we have to write the plural of the following nouns. Kabirun, yes, who remembers the plural of kabirun? Kibarun, excellent. Muslimun, muslimun, muslimuna, it will come on the pattern of una, excellent. Muslimuna. Rajulun, and then the plural will be rijalun, excellent, on the pattern of fi'alun. Ibnun, and the plural will be abna'un, excellent, on the pattern of af'alun, abna'un. Daifun, okay, I will give you a hint. Daifun, the plural is on the pattern of fu'ulun, so daifun will be duyufun, duyufun, excellent, fu'ulun. Fatan, a young man, and or a young boy, and the plural is on the pattern of fi'latun, fi'latun, so it will be fityatun, fityatun, fi'latun, fityatun. Hajjun, the plural is on the pattern of fu'alun. Please give me the pattern on the plural on the pattern of fu'alun. It will be hujjajun. Akhun, and then the plural is, yes, who remembers? It has two plurals, ikhwatun wa ikhwanun. Excellent, two plurals, ikhwatun wa ikhwanun. Ikhwatun, when we say ikhwatun, that means from 3 to 10. Ikhwatun means from 3 to 10. And if we have more than 10, then we use ikhwanun. More than 10, it will be ikhwanun. And inshallah, when we learn the numbers, then we will learn more about it. But as of now, we need to know that ikhwatun is used for numbers from 3 to 10, and ikhwanun is used for numbers that are more than 10. Then we have saghirun, and the plural is sigharun. Ahsantum, ahsantum. Tawilun, and the plural will be tiwalun, tawilun, tiwalun, excellent. Ghaniyun, yes, something special about ghaniyun. It is on the pattern of af'ila'u, af'ila'u. So it will be aghniya'u, aghniya'u. And we know that this pattern is mamnu min as-sarf, and that's why it will not accept tanween. Faqirun, it's on the pattern of fu'ala'u, fu'ala'u. Yes, please give me the pattern of the plural of faqirun. It will be fuqara'u, fuqara'u, again, excellent. And we know that this is also mamnu min as-sarf, so this one also does not accept tanween. Excellent. Okay. So now we have the vocab that we have learned from this lesson. And we can see that in the vocab, it's the same thing that we have learned earlier. For example, fatan, young men, and the plural is fityatun. Ismun, asma'un. Tawilun, tiwalun. This is for practice only. Rajulun, rijalun. Talibun, tullabun. So what you need to focus on is on the pattern. For example, this is pattern fi'alun. This is fu'alun. An-nasu means people. Then we have jadidun, and the pattern is jududun. So the pattern is different, fu'ulun. Then we have daifun, and the pattern is duyufun, different pattern, fu'ulun. Hajjun, and the pattern is hujjajun, pilgrims. Okay, so this is also fu'alun. Qariyatun, and the plural is quran, quran also. So qaryatun, village, and the pattern we haven't learned, so that's why we don't need to worry about that. So it will be Quran, something like this. And when we use al with that, then it becomes al-qura, ahlul qura, so it becomes al-qura, then tanween will disappear. So this is a special, inshallah we will learn about it in book number 2. Sadiqun, plural is asdiqa'u, mamnu min as-sarf. Then we have haqlun, and the plural is huqulun, fields. Al-mat'amu, and the plural is mata'imu, on the pattern of mafa'ilu, mata'imu. Zamilun, classmate, and zumala'u, mamnu min as-sarf. And then we have ibnun, and it has also two plurals, abna'un wa banuna. Also banuna is the sound plural, and abna'u is the broken, abna'un is the broken plural. Al-mal wal-banuna zinatul hayatid dunya. So we can see that it has two plurals, banuna. Then we have mujtahidun, hardworking, and mujtahiduna, and shaykhun, and the plural is shuyukhun. Now let's look at some of the examples from the Quran about, we have learned about whom, we have also learned about ha'ula'i, and similarly we have learned about ba'du. Now we can see that some of the examples over here, and we have seen that whom can be used as a subject, and it can also be used as attached pronoun. So when we say hum ashabul mash'amah, so here we will say that hum is subject and ashabu is the predicate, and ashabul mash'amati is mudaf ilayh. And how do we know it's mudaf ilayh? It does not have tanween, it is light, and then mudaf ilayh has kasra. So this is confirmed that this is mudaf ilayh. Hum ashabul mash'amah, they are the people of the left. The left means those people who will be given the book in the left hand. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not to make us among them. So hum ashabul mash'amah, the people who will be given their book in the left hand. Then we have thumma inna alayna hisabahum. Hisabahum. Now we can see here that it is used as, hum is used as what? It is used as mudaf ilayhi, right? So we have noticed and we have discussed earlier that if it comes in the beginning of the subject of the sentence, then it will be a subject if it comes in the beginning of the sentence. And if it comes after a noun, then it will be used as mudaf ilayh. So we can see over here, thumma inna alayna hisabahum. Then indeed upon us, and as we can see that us is hum, so it is used in the place of object, as we can see here in their account. Sirat alladhina an'amta alayhim. We have also seen that whom can also come after the preposition. And do you remember the rule we learned about who? We have seen that who, if it has kasra before it, like be, so it becomes bihi. And similarly, who, if it has ya sakin before it, for example, we have alayhi, so alayhu, so it becomes alayhi. And the same rule will apply over here with whom. When there is ya sakin before it, it will change into kasra, alayhim. So it was originally alayhum. And because of there is ya sakin before it, it has changed into kasra, so it has become alayhim. Sirat alladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those whom you have blessed. And similarly, we have alladhi at'amahum min ju'. Now we can see here that at'ama is the verb, and here it is used after the verb. So what I needed to tell you, that when it comes in the beginning of the sentence, it will be, or the verse of the Quran, it will be subject. And when it comes after a noun, it will be mudaf ilayh. When it comes after the preposition, it will be majroor. And when it comes after the verb, it will be the object of the verb. Alladhi at'amahum min ju'. And you might be thinking here that how do we know if it's a verb? So inshallah, as of now, from the translation, we can see who fed them against hunger. That's because of ya sakin. Please remember that whenever who and whom, whenever they have kasra right before them, that's number one. And number two, when they have ya sakin before them, then they will accept kasra, as we can see over here. So alayhim, because we have ya sakin, that's why it has changed into kasra. Then we have the plural of hada and ha'ulai, and we know that for both hada and ha'ulai, the plural for hada and hadhihi, the plural is what? Ha'ulai. It is what? Ha'ulai. So as we can see over here, ha'ulai banati in kuntum fa'ilin. So we know that banati is the plural of bintun and banati means my daughters. And these are my daughters to marry if you must. And then the last one is very interesting. It has lots of interesting ideas, but I would like you to focus only on ba'd. So tilka rusulu faddalna ba'dahum ala ba'd. Okay. Now we have learned that ba'd is always used as mudaf, right? So here it is used as mudaf. We have ba'dahum, but here what happened? We have tanween. So this is the usloob of the Quran and also of the Arabic language, but mainly of the Quran. That sometimes what happens, the mudaf ilayh gets dropped. It was basically ala ba'dihim. So what happens? Sometimes the mudaf ilayh gets dropped, and then a compensatory kasra is placed. So what happened? Him has been dropped, and additional kasra has been placed over there, so it has become ala ba'din. And the reason why I have to mention this, because we have learned already that ba'd is always used as mudaf. So whenever you are reciting the Quran, you might come across this verse of the Quran and you might be thinking like, where is mudaf ilayh? So this is also, inshallah, about the Arabic language. We will learn that sometimes the ending gets dropped, like we have seen in ya al mutakallim, lakum dinukum waliya dini. So the ya al mutakallim has been dropped. Similarly, sometimes what happens that the ending gets dropped, and here in this case it was dropped and it was substituted with a kasra, so it has become ba'din. Okay, and we know that this meme, it's a must that we have to stop over here. And you will see this case, especially with ba'd, inshallah, you will see that there are many examples in the Quran that you will see that we have ba'dahum or ba'dahum or ba'dihim. And after that, you will see that when the verse ends, then what happens? Then in the end, you will see that it ends with like this, with kasratain. So this is what we needed to know about this. So alhamdulillah, here we have discussed some examples, and now I have some homework for you, or something that we need to learn now. You have noticed that we haven't started learning the verbs, right? Officially, we haven't started learning the verbs, but we have some idea about the verbs, like what they are. So what I have decided to do here is to provide you whatever we have learned so far. Please remember that there are two ways of learning Arabic language. One way is that we are learning from the books. This is the interactive method where we have like dialogues, conversations, and we learn through conversations. And then there is another method which is used in like in Madaris al-Islamiyya, in the Islamic like Madaris, where what they do lots of memorization. So what's memorization? For example, they give you a verb, for example, dhahaba, and then you will memorize the conjugation of dhahaba. And this is what we call as-sarf. What is this? This is called as-sarf. Whatever we have learned earlier, that is called a nahav, that is called grammar. And this is called as-sarf, which is basically conjugation of the verb. And as-sarf deals with the verbs, okay? I haven't given you lots of information about the verb, but we have already learned that the verb always has a doer, and the doer is always marfu'. So this is your conjugation. And if you can memorize conjugation of one verb, there are around, I don't want to scare you, but we need to know around 1,000 verbs being used in the Quran. So inshallah, if you can memorize the conjugation of dhahaba for the past tense, then you will be able to do the conjugation of all 1,000 verbs, roughly 1,000 verbs. That can be more or less. Inshallah, you can do the conjugation of all of them. So the only thing we need to know as of now, that in Arabic, the verb starts with the past tense. The verb starts with the past tense. So when you open the dictionary, you will always see that if you are looking for the word, so you will find like this, dhahaba yadhhabu. You will find like this. So in Arabic, the verb always starts with the past tense. That's number one, dhahaba. And it always starts with the third person. In the third person, in Arabic, we call it al-ghaibu. Now you have the same thing for the pronouns, and you have the same thing for the verb, okay? For example, we have pronouns for al-ghaib, third person, al-mukhatab is the second person, and al-mutakallim is the first person. So we have learned already dhahaba means he went, and the plural is dhahabu. The dual we haven't learned yet, okay? Dhahaba, dhahabu. Now what you have to do, we have learned jalasa, so you have to complete the conjugation of jalasa. And similarly, we have learned kharaja. So you have to also complete the conjugation here, not the whole conjugation. You have to complete whatever we have learned over here. So we have learned dhahaba and dhahabu. Similarly, we have learned dhahabat, she went, and inshallah, the next part of the lesson, we will learn the plural of dhahabat. And dhahabta, we have learned that means you went, and dhahabti, we have also learned that means you went. Dhahabta is for the masculine, and dhahabti is for the feminine. And we have also learned dhahabtu, we went, and it is used, I went, and it is used for both the masculine and both masculine and feminine. I mean feminine. So it will be dhahabtu. So inshallah, once we complete this table, and by the end of this lesson, most of it, or by the end of next lesson, hopefully most of this will be completed. So once it is completed, inshallah, then based on this pattern, you can memorize all the verbs. And I have a secret code over here, number 1 and number 4. Inshallah, when we start the verbal sentence, then we will come to know what is meant by number 1 and what is meant by number 4. However, we need to know that the verb in Arabic language always starts with number 1, and number 1 means that is the past tense for the third person singular. So this is inshallah where you have to practice now the verbs. So alhamdulillah, our first part of the lesson is complete now, and inshallah in the next lesson we will start with part 2. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.